Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Probably lower viewership. I forgot to mention, for especially the people overseas, that we changed our time this weekend. You know what? If first of all, can't everybody just sync up if they're going to do this ridiculous time change? Can't we just all change all over the place on the same weekend? Second, let's just get rid of the stupid time changes. Get rid of it. Oh, you know what? My dog, everyone's like, oh, we get to sleep in an extra hour. Yeah, but I hate getting up the extra hour early in the spring. And my dogs don't understand the time changes, so they're still up at the same time. No sleeping in. No, no, no. They're like, hey, same time to us. So they don't get it. Good morning, Patrick. That's where I sit this week. So if you didn't like the rant, hey, thanks for this comment, Sterling. Sterling, you got to put in a good morning, too. You got to put good morning in there, Sterling. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Legion Reaver. Haven't seen you in a while. Good morning, Options 22. Back in the good old USA, I assume. Or are you still traveling somewhere else? Good morning, Royal Palms. Good morning, Anissa. How is everyone doing this fine morning in November? The time change moves the sun slower around the earth. Oh, is that the way it works? You know what? The hubris of the human ego would think that. Yay. But you know what? Does it have any relation? Does the time change affect climate change at all? That'll be the next thing. If we don't do the time change, climate change is it's gonna get worse. That'll be the next thing. Hey, good morning, Chris Plummer. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Heinrich. So, climate change and time change, hand in hand. All right, let's take a look at this week. We had a massive rally last week. We were expecting a rally that was even bigger than I expected. But today's sort of quieter. Well, this is one of these days I am going to be paying attention to the 3 and 6 month bill auctions and the results from that. We also got Cook speaking at 11. That's pretty much it for today. Tomorrow, this is the week of Fed Speak. Fed Speak week. So we got Barr, Jeffrey, Waller, and there's always some missing from the list. Williams, Logan. We have consumer credit change. We have the IBD, economic optimism. Again, it's pretty quiet day pretty quiet week in terms of events. It's mostly Fed speak. Wednesday, we have the mortgage stuff. We got Cook, we got Williams, Barr, Jefferson, and there's 2 days of Powell speaking. He's speaking at the IMF. Okay, so we got that Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday, we have Powell speaking again. We, of course, have jobless claims initial and continue. Excuse me. We got Bark and Bostic. Oh, jeez. What are they going to say that's important? I think they just love to hear themselves speak, justify their existence. Logan, Bostic again on Friday, and the preliminary consumer sentiment and inflation numbers for November. Remember, in 2 weeks, these come out again with the final. And we even got Bostic speaking on Saturday. So, busy week of Fed speak. Tesla up today announcing that they're looking to build the 25K euro version of the car in the German plant. Good luck with that. Oil up. Everything else pretty much mixed. Let's take a look at our sectors so far. Energy leading, which we already saw in the oil and energy stocks up. Consumer cyclical, real estate, healthcare. Everything's positive this morning. But oil by far the most positive. Right now, we're still running now with the rate cut after March. So it dropped from June to May. So first rate cut coming in the May meeting. So let's see how that holds up, especially after the December meeting. But that's the first thing that's for the rate cut now. Fear and greed still at the upper end of fear, close to that neutral range where I was watching for the bounce. Oh, they updated the market sentiment numbers, and everything's still pretty much overvalued. So we don't have to dwell on that a lot right now. Let's see. Lots of earnings this week, but not a lot that's going to be market moving. So unless you're in any of these individual stocks, remember you always have to know the earnings date for your individual stocks. Don't forget about that. Other stuff, I mean, there isn't just a lot. There isn't. Probably the most important, or one that I'm keeping an eye on, it might not be the most important to you, but for me is Disney. Disney's probably the most important, biggest name that has a lot of following and everything else, and has sort of ramification because of the theme park and the streaming stuff. We got the AMC Apes, got something to celebrate this year. Again, you got some of the key things like Roblox. Again, can somebody explain the business model? What else? You got DR Horton from the Homes. You got Uber, Rivian. But overall, lots of stuff, but nothing really going to be that could be shake up the markets, which is what we're more focused on. If anybody wants to look at something ahead of earnings, let me know. All right, so S&P approaching the highs, the prior double top area from the mid-October. A huge winning streak take us out of oversold to overbought with daily cycles at the top. So I'm starting to watch, not just for today, but for a pause or a pullback against some pretty key resistance. All right. Also, we're between the 50 and the 62% harmonics, where we watch for at least a topping pattern. Doesn't have to be a big pullback yet. Why am I only watching for a short-term topping pattern? Because we still have weekly cycles coming up to the top. So this could still last for, even with a pause, even with a whole week pause, we could get another push higher going into easily Thanksgiving week. Remember, Thanksgiving's on the 23rd of November for those outside the U.S. But so there was a short trading week that week, and it's traditionally, you can get bearish weeks in there, but traditionally it's got somewhat of an upward bias. But I'm watching, especially with the overbought conditions, for at least a pause. Remember, a pause can be a sideways correction. How this one in mid-November was initially more of a sideways correction, then it formed a double top, then it reversed. So we'll be keeping an eye on the way this pauses or pulls back to see if it forms a reversal pattern up here. But for right now, I'm watching for at least a pause. Fun fact, AMC is now trading at a pre-split. I still got to change the font. I keep forgetting the color of the font. Of a pre-split adjusted price of $109 per share as the apes continue to hodl. Well, you got to hodl. That's the strategy. NASDAQ, same thing. Overbought, daily cycles at the top. I'm still watching for the NASDAQ because we closed above the 62.5 back last Thursday. I'm still watching for that push. There's this trend line. It's more of a best fit line because we go through the wicks here. But, it's corresponding with the 87.5. So I'm still watching for the NASDAQ to at least test 15,300 for the pausing area. Doesn't have to, but that's what I'm watching from a trailing point of view. Same thing here. NASDAQ on the weekly. Still cycles can push up. And if you were to draw the weekly trend line, the proper drawn trend line, the weekly ones corresponding just slightly higher than that 87.5 level. If we hit that 87.5, then I'll ratchet it up to the next key level. And on a closing basis, 15,341 is key for a weekly close. But let's see how we do over the next couple days. Oh, you know what? I didn't go through my daily levels. I was too focused on the weekly. So, today on the S&P, 43.74 is the area of support I'm watching. Then we have some support around 43.60. We start dropping towards 43.60. I'll start watching for a bigger pullback towards 43.35 to 43.40. To the upside, this is where I'd use the minor harmonics, the very minor harmonics for intraday trading here. Would give me 4,400 then 44.08 if we do break above 43.91. So those are the key on the S&P. For the NASDAQ, you do have a little mini potential double top against the 4-hour rotation zone. I'd watch. It would at least need a key close below this. I would not be looking for a 5-minute close, but those pullback levels, even with that, even if that mini double top did trigger, it would be 15,130, 15,113, then 15,097, so it's 15,100. To the upside, though, if we break out and push higher today, and let's see, look at this. Minor harmonic, 15,266.50, but look at this with the 87.5. Let me get back to the daily. Look at this. We got the cluster right at that 87.5, 15,300 to 15,304. Key resistance right there. Key resistance. The Dow against the resistance highs from October 17th between the 50 and the 62.5. Cycles at the top, overbought. So looking at the short-term little levels in the Dow, 34,274, 34,371. If we start breaking, really I'd start watching about 34.1. Breaking below 34.1, I could watch for a pullback to about 33,965, 970 area. The Russell, good old Russell, which took off, came very close at 87.5, still 1782 is the key level of resistance up there. The key level of support, no double there just yet, but if we start breaking roughly below about 1759, we're into a 4-hour clear single candle clear path and a 1-hour multi-clear path. So I'd have to use my retracements here. If we come down in the Russell, would be looking at about 1758, 1750. 1750 would be a very key level, then 1743. To the upside, though, to the upside, if it does break above there, you got, I'd really be watching 1782. There's been a fair amount of resistance pretty close to that, but 1787 would be a minor level. 1794 would be a very key level. So, VIX, again, huge plummet in the VIX. A little bounce up today. So I'm watching for a little more pause, especially if we hit some of these key levels, see upside, and then start pausing. But we'll get in a more bullish mode if we start filling the gap. The only thing that makes me start looking for a bigger pullback is if we start getting some momentum above 16. The DAX hitting the 62.5 area and not closing yet above it. So 15.3 is 15.302 technically is still the key closing area to watch for. Continued upside. 15 about 170 is key support, and then 15,050. And remember, you do have some gaps down here to the downside. The notes, after hitting the targets on the double, I'm looking for, if the notes start pulling back at all, remember to watch the bill auctions, especially today. But next key level is 107.15. Then there's still a gap left behind down here. Should get momentum, but I'd watch 107.02 as the first key level. The yield coming in, spiking between the 50 and the 62.5. But on any rally, I'm now paying attention to about 4.7, 4.71 as the key resistance area for right now. Dollar index, very bearish close on Friday. Key resistance now 105.21. Now, on the bigger picture, we're getting closer to a weekly bottom. We're getting back into a very key support area on the weekly. You see here, right around the weekly rotation zone, and right below that, you even have the 50 and the prior key breakout level. So I'm watching for some key support to come in at the dollar index with daily cycles not yet at the bottom. But any bounce, we're bouncing into key prior major support becoming resistance. So nothing bullish yet on the dollar. Crude, trying to carve out at least an intermediate bottom, has not been able to really dip below 80. Remember, you have that Strategic Petroleum Reserve bid possibly at 79, but no selling below 80 at the time. No real bullish setup just yet. For me, it has to start trading above roughly about 82.50 before I start looking, besides very short-term stuff. Natty Gas, let me just check something here because I did not look at it earlier, is triple top. Triple top, so the only target to the downside is for the gap fill to 321. That's what's key right now. So that's what I'll be keeping an eye on. It's still trying to form these higher bases. Gold, keeping an eye on this potential head and shoulders. If it closes below the neckline, we could get the pullback 1961.5, 1949.5, 1937.5 against the daily rotation zone with cycles at the bottom. So this is a very cautious trade. I'd be looking for this for pullback and then buy opportunities, not shorting into this. Now, weeklies are at the top, so we could start seeing more of a consolidation / pullback pattern over the next 2 to 3 weeks in gold after the big run up. I would not be chasing gold higher at this point. I'd be watching for some kind of more, especially if we get a pullback for a bullish pattern. But that's just my opinion on it. Yields on the 10-year JGBs pulling back substantially. And the yen, little bounce here, but the yen, again, could not get through this 150.19 area. But overall, working off, this is a clear example of a multi-week sideways correction. Yeah, you can get spikes, but look at the close. This is why it's always important to watch these closes, especially in the weekly. Look at all these closes in the range. Coming from major overbought conditions with cycles dropping back to the bottom area over the next week or a week and a half. Dailies could still look to go below, but key support coming in about 148.40. Euro, second target hit on Friday, still pausing there. The final target is 107.84. And then we break through that, my target would be the 200, a flat 200 at 108 area. We still have room to go on the upside cycles with the weekly getting to the top. So I'm going to be looking for more of, with the dollar potentially putting in a bottom in the next few days, more significant top in the euro, but it could continue to push higher. The pound coming up to that 200 area and poking through. Now pausing right here. From my perspective, the pound, until it gets back below 123, there's nothing on the short side. If we get above, let me flip this over. If we get above, come on. Wow. There we go. We get above 124.45. My next key target is about 125.90. 125.80 to 125.90. The spiders. We closed above the 62.5, took out the 87.5. Again, this is a very key top area now. A very key top area. The next level, if this does continue, is 440.6. All right, there's technically a gap left behind still to Wednesday, September 20th. So my first target on any upside push, 438.64. 438.64. Now, we're trading 435.58 right now. The high, you can still watch for a breakout high from Friday, 436.29. And the key support, if we do roll over, first one would be 434.69. And then I'd be looking at the lows, 433.01. Then you have a gap fill. And the gap fill is to 430.74. Now looking at a little shorter term thing, This is really tough right now with pause. We don't even have a good pausing bar. So we can't do decent harmonics, but 437.24 besides Friday's high, 437.25 to about 438 is very, very key resistance. The Qs, we're still looking 369.82. So trading pre-market 368.53, 369.82 is the first key level I'd use, and then roughly about 371.70. To the downside, I'd pay attention to the close from Friday, 367.71. And then on a bigger pullback, the open from Friday, 364.75. And then below that, you still have a gap left behind from Thursday to Friday, 363.44. Same thing as I talked about with the futures. Daily cycles at the top. Weekly cycles still have room to move up. The Qs also, if you're doing the trend line, right at that 87.5. So there's very key resistance coming up for at least that pause. At least the pause up here. Doesn't have to happen today, though. As I talked about Tesla, we hit the rotation zone on Friday and the very key gap open. If we take out Friday's highs, I'd be using about 231.51 and then about 236.50 as the next targets. I'm still watching for a rollover play in Tesla at some point. Again, you had the $25,000 or euro level, 25,000 euro car being produced out of the German plant, which I severely doubt, but you have a pump play there. The key breakdown area to watch for a resumption is now roughly around 211. Good morning, Richard. All right, what else do we have? NVIDIA closing above the 62.5. So if we retake this, 465.60 is the next key target to the upside. The breakdown level for looking for any potential shorts, unless a topping formation forms, is still 436.50. Sterling mentioned AMC. What did you mention here? AMC. AMD. What was I looking? AMD. Yeah, AMD did. I thought you said AMC. AMD did trigger the weekly double. If it continues, 179.74, 123.95, 128.16. Are those the same levels as you? And let's see, the third target AMD double takes the price to 87.5 of the recent high as well. Sterling should take over the channel. He's completely correct. Sterling, you're now in charge. You have to forego your day job and run a daily YouTube channel now. I'm putting you in charge. I'm taking the rest of the year off. Sterling, spot on with the analysis. Spot on. Exactly what I would have done. You're welcome, Options 22. If you time what level, percent B, long and short. You know what? I'm thinking of giving away the percent B rules right around Christmas holidays. I'm still going to call it Christmas. You know what? If people celebrate Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. People celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. I'm not going to be not going into this woke crap, canceling crap. But I'm thinking of giving away the rules on a couple different live streams that won't be archived as a special gift to everyone this holiday season. So, because there's a couple nuances. So, I'm going to wait till closer to the end of the year. Give you incentive to keep tuning in, and if you want to support the channel, but I'm thinking of just giving it away. Giving it away to everybody, and then you can do your own testing with it. But everyone here is learning all the stuff. I'm becoming useless, which was the point. Also, The point of getting people to think for themselves, analyzing price action, and hopefully this could just reinforce your belief. By the way, you did bring up the percent B buy. This was, now see, sometimes when you break this much above, this was a percent B buy on the weekly also. Remember last week we had the percent B buy on the daily. I should have mentioned, but once you know the rules, you'll know which key highs and lows to watch. So once it broke above the week of October 23rd highs, you have to be in perspective that it could have triggered a percent B buy with the key follow through, which we did get on the weekly basis. That doesn't mean this week has to follow through. It means we could get follow through over the next couple weeks. You're welcome, Legion Reaver. You're welcome, Anissa. So that's what we'll do. We'll do a couple, and I'll do a couple live streams at different times because I'm not going to record them. I might just stream them live. Okay? So you have to tune in to get the rules. That's why I'll do one at a couple different sessions for people in case you can't attend one live. I will do a couple different sessions. So that's what we shall do. Would I consider? I'll consider anything, Sterling. I'll consider doing a paid live stream explaining selling option premium strategies. We'll do a couple things. Maybe we'll do a couple things around the holiday season. Maybe I'll just explain. Maybe we'll do a small paid one or donation one for just to recap all the double rules and everything else. Some other stuff. We'll just leave everybody at the end of this year with some really good tools and techniques. So you don't, there's something that you might not know about the percent B. Something you might not know about the percent B. So there's an interesting twist. Could you send a message in the Discord I will remind her. We'll have plenty of time. It's not even Thanksgiving yet in the U.S. We'll have plenty of time. All right, and if somebody can't make it, who's been a long-time viewer on any live stream, I'll figure out something for you. Don't worry. I think this channel's more than generous and does not try to take advantage of people. I think pretty much everything's free at this point besides some ads. Let's just see. So give me some feedback, just want to help as many people become successful as possible. Really, that's my only ulterior motive, is helping people truly become successful. In this difficult yet very rewarding profession. Just keep an eye if this does reverse. I'd need a 4-hour close below this low. I would not do it on any shorter time frame because it's against the rotation zones. But 43.74, just watch that going into the mid-morning. Again, breakout level 43.91. Then we start getting above that. I'm really targeting 4,400. Let's take a look at the tick, and then we'll wrap it up. The tick. See, minor negative tick today. Minor negative tick, but market's still holding up. So I'm watching if the tick gets support and then starts getting really back above 200. Unless this tick starts spiking below minus 800, not terribly bearish. If we get below minus 800 on spike downs, I will start watching more for that double. There's no Christmas songs going on yet. There's no Christmas songs going on yet now. There will be. There will be. I have not taught another dog to sing Christmas songs, though. So you'll have to go back to the video and watch Walter. Good old Walter. All right. With that, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Gives everyone something to look forward to. Also, I haven't been much in Discord recently. I have too much going on, but if somebody could post just for people in the Discord to be on the lookout for releasing some of this percent B stuff. I shall talk to everyone about that. Walk into a Lowe's. I am so frustrated with Lowe's too. They really pissed me off, and I'll have to go in that store later. But I had to get a couple propane tanks filled this weekend. I went by Lowe's at 7:30 on a Sunday. 7:30. They open at 7. And this is even the Sunday of yesterday. So it's like we already fell back from the time. They weren't even open. 30 minutes after open, they weren't even open. The doors were still locked on a Sunday. All the lights were out. On a Sunday after Daylight Savings Times when they're supposed to be opening at 7. And that was still the posted hours. Lowe's, you've really lost me as a customer. So I'm not walking into Lowe's. With that, I shall talk to everyone. I'll be back tomorrow. And thank you for tuning in. Bye for now.